Hi there. So today I'm going to be making my gingerbread house, and so these are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. These aren't the decorative ingredients, this is just to make the gingerbread itself. So I'm going to be using the Swerve Sweets boxed yellow cake mix. I have a gingerbread specific spice blend that I put together. I will put the recipe for that down below. It's got like all the normal gingerbread spices in it, but I'll put that down below so you know. Almond flour, the Swerve brown sugar, and then eggs and butter. So let me go ahead and get started mixing the dry ingredients together, and I'll tell you exactly what all I'm doing to make the boxed cake mix work for this recipe. Okay, so I just added 2 tablespoons of the gingerbread seasoning mix, spice mix, and now I'm just blending to make sure it's all blended in before I add any of the wet ingredients or the brown sugar, which I'm about to add. Okay, and I just added a 1/2 cup of the almond flour to this mixture, and I'm just mixing that in really well. I do that basically because I want to kind of make the dough stretch a little bit further, make sure I have enough dough to build the entire house. So right now I'm just mixing that up and making sure like all the lumps are out and everything. And then I'm about to add a 1/2 cup of the brown sugar in there. And I have a full stick of butter that I'm melting, and that'll be the next ingredient after the brown sugar is mixed in. But I'll show you that, and then after that it's just 2 eggs and you're done with the dough. Well, with the ingredients for the dough. Okay, so I just added a 1/2 cup of the Swerve brown sugar substitute, and now I'm just mixing that in. Still waiting for my butter to be melted. Again, that's 1 full stick of butter, and I'm just gonna add that in. Oops. And I'm just gonna add that in and get that stirred around, and then 2 eggs after that. Okay, so now I am just going to go ahead and add the melted butter into here and then get all of that completely mixed up. And then after it's completely mixed up, then I'll be adding 2 eggs. Okay, so I added the 2 eggs and kept mixing until it formed a dough. And I'm just going to kind of make a little line down the middle, kind of separate the 2 halves of the dough, so that way it's easier to grab this section, like the sectioned off dough, after it has been chilled, which is the next step. I'm going to be covering this with some plastic and chilling in the refrigerator for about 30 to 45-ish minutes. And then after that, we'll be rolling out the pieces so we can cut them into the gingerbread shapes. Okay, so now that the dough has had time to cool off and kind of solidify a little bit more, makes it a little easier to work with. Now I'm going to start the process of rolling out the dough, and then I have some paper cutouts. It's like a gingerbread house template, and I'll show you the process of doing all of that too. So just like I did in my Christmas cookies video, I prefer to roll out my dough in between 2 different pieces of parchment paper because I just feel like it's so much simpler and it's less hassle to try to get it to not stick to the countertops. So I've got 2 little pieces of dough right here, so I'm just going to flatten these out, and then I'll show you what I do whenever I'm ready to do my cutouts. Okay, so now I will show you what I'm going to do to cut it out. So I have just some little paper cutouts in the shape of a gingerbread house. There's tons of different like templates and stuff, free templates that can be found online. So I found one and I modified it. So all you're going to do is you're just going to put your template down and then use a pizza cutter. You could use a knife, but I feel like a pizza cutter is way easier to use. So just trace around the outside of your template with your pizza cutter or your knife, cutting it into the shape needed. So I'll just be repeating that process with the other templates, and I have the oven set to 350, so I'll be throwing these in there for about 12-ish minutes. Definitely keep checking on it though, because you don't want it to burn. So I don't think I explained further. So once you finish cutting out from your dough, then you're just going to simply, just the same as if you're doing like decorated cookies, you're just going to remove the dough all around your cutout piece, and then you'll be baking this cutout piece. And I'll show you in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and cut the door out, but I'm not going to take it out. So I'll show you in just one sec. Okay, so yeah, I just removed all the excess pieces, and now I'm just going to cut a door. And for this, I am using a knife because it's just going to cut cleaner than using like the pizza cutter. But I only need to cut one door out because one of these is going to be the back of the house. So all I'm going to do is I am simply going to go ahead and make, I want it to be a little taller than that, and make the door cutout, but I'm not going to be removing the door. It's a little off center, so I'm going to do there we go. Yeah, so I'm cutting the door, but I'm not going to be removing the door because it just cooks like cleaner. It has like cleaner edges that way. So yeah, so I'll be throwing these in the oven at 350 for about 12 minutes. Okay, so I just finished cutting out the wall pieces, and I just wanted to show you, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the door for the front of the house for the windows. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the windows, but I'm not going to be removing the cutout because it just cooks cleaner whenever you leave it in there. Okay, so all of the pieces have been baked, and so it's time for the next step. So I've got all of the ones that have windows and or doors cut out over here for the next step, which I will be using the Zolly Pops candies to do this next effect. I'm going to be placing the candies in the slots for like the windows and the doors, and reheating for at like 350 for about 5 or 6 minutes, just until the candies have melted, to make kind of like a stained glass window effect. So I will show you that whenever I have the candies removed from their sticks and put all in place. I'll show you what it looks like before I pop it in the oven, and then I'll show you what it looks like right after I pull it out. Okay, so here it is before I put it in the oven, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then, yeah, so 350 for about 5 or 6 minutes, but just keep checking on it to make sure. All right, so I just pulled it out of the oven, and So it's all melted up, and I'm just making sure that it's all like pretty much connected to the actual cookie part, so that when it cools off, it stays put. But you're not going to want to move these at all until they have fully cooled down and re-solidified. Okay, so now we're getting to the fun part, which is going to be the assembling of the gingerbread house and decorating. So to get started, just put down another one of these because I'm going to store it on my pan here. Okay, and then I've got some of the white frosting, so I can get started with putting all this down and getting it to stay put. So let me go ahead and get started on that, and I'll kind of show you approximately what I'm going to do. Is just going to put some icing down and then start putting the gingerbread house on top of the icing to keep it in place. Okay, so a lot of people only use frosting to kind of like use it as like a glue to hold the walls together and everything like that. And that may work for some, but I find that melted white chocolate works a lot better to secure the walls, both standing up and also together. So that's what I'm currently doing, is just kind of pouring some white chocolate on the edge pieces that connect and allowing the white chocolate to solidify again. So that's the update, and we will see how everything else goes. Okay, so I just put the roof together with some white chocolate, and I have that chilling in the fridge to kind of solidify it. So while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to get started with the like outside lawn area that I'm going to be doing. So let me go ahead and get started. I'm just going to put down, go ahead and put down some white icing so that it looks like snowy outside. Okay, and then the next step that I'm going to do is I am going to make a cobblestone pathway using some broken pieces of the Russell Stover's sugar-free chocolate-coated candies. This is what it looks like. I basically just like broke up a bunch of pieces, so now I'm just going to put those down and make like a cobblestone pathway. Okay, I've got the cobblestone done, and the next thing I'm going to do is make a couple of Christmas trees to go outside, and for that I'm going to be using a couple of the Enlightened sugar-free cones. I'm just going to cut the end off of the cone, turn it upside down, and put some green icing on it to make it a Christmas tree. So now that I've got the tree, I have all the green icing on it. Now I'm just taking the various colors and dotting them on there to make it look like Christmas lights. Okay, so now the roof the white chocolate has solidified. This is the easiest way I've found to put the roof on to kind of keep it from sliding off. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that, and then I will finish decorating it up, and I'll explain along the way as I'm decorating it. Okay, so now that the roof is on, I'm just going to finish decorating the roof and then all the sides, and then I just have a couple more things to do down here in the yard, and I will show you the final product. And now I'm just adding some unsweetened coconut chips to kind of help fill out the gaps in the roof. Just kind of make it all look snowy and white. Okay, so I'm just about done here, but I'm just gonna make a real quick snowman out of these sugar-free Max Mallow marshmallows, and I'll show you after I get done. All right, and let me show you the final product. You take the flash off so you can see the lights coming from inside the house. All right, and there you have it, a keto, low carb gingerbread house made from all edible ingredients. All right, thanks so much, guys. Have a great one.